Welcome back, Greensburg-Salem students. My name is Mr. Adia, and I'm happy to be your art instructor this semester. This is going to be a very different year, but we're going to get through it together, and I promise we're going to have a good time in the process. Whether I have you for hybrid model, where I get to see you in person, or whether you're just taking the course remotely, we are going to have a lot of hands-on experiences. We'll make sure that you have access to materials, and we will be using technology, especially in the form of Microsoft Teams, daily. Since this course is mainly about designing and making, let's first talk about art materials. Anything that you have at home is great, but I will make sure that you have materials from the school as well. If I see you on the hybrid model, the days that you come in, I'll make sure you're equipped with the materials you need, and you'll know what you're supposed to do when you take them home. If you are in the completely remote model, we will make plans for me to either come to you and drop materials off, or for you to come into the school and pick them up so that you also have what you need. Especially if I have you for the hybrid model, we're going to be bringing a lot of materials back and forth from school to home. So you want to start to think about ways that you might successfully be able to do this. I'll have some solutions available, like we can make folders, or I can offer you boxes or containers to bring things back and forth. But if you have a solution of your own, that would be helpful, like a portfolio or some other box or container that you can do that with. Where in your home can you make artwork? Everyone is going to need some place that they can call their studio space. That could be a kitchen table, it could be your bedroom, it could be part of a home office or basement. Wherever that is, just make sure it's somewhere that you're allowed to be working, you won't make a huge mess for your family to be annoyed, and you'll be able to store all your supplies and other materials. Something about art making that you're going to hear me say over and over is document your process. You want to pretend like you're a lawyer, gathering evidence to show me why you deserve the assessment that you get. So in other words, if you're watching a video that I assign, you're going to be taking notes on that video. You're going to photograph those notes. You're going to upload those in the Teams to see that you actually did what was required of you. If you are asked to plan a sketch or to plan a painting before it's completed, I need to see pictures of those plans. As you're painting or drawing something or making something, take pictures throughout the process to show that. You might be asked for those later, or just so that you can go back and revisit the whole experience and see how far you've come. I'm constantly taking pictures of my work while I'm making it. I rarely just take a picture of the finished piece. Now, whether you're a remote learner or you're going to be in the hybrid model, sure, you're going to have the physical artwork, the creation that you've made, but the way that I'm going to assess it at the end is going to be completely by submitting photographs of it on Teams. That way, it's very organized. If your parents have any questions, they can see what you turned in, they can see the rubric that's attached to that. It's going to make things a lot easier. We all sign up for courses for different reasons. My assumption is that you've signed up because you either have an interest in art, or you're looking for an art-related career in the future, or it's just a passion of yours. I'm going to assume that you're committed, and I'm going to expect you to demonstrate that every day we meet, whether that be virtually or that be in person. Some ways that you can demonstrate that are to be prepared and have everything done and ready to present, to be open to constructive criticism, and to be supportive to your peers, and to give them positive feedback and advice as we all go along our journey together. Something that all your instructors are going to talk to you about this year, and I'm sure you're well aware, is the importance of being considerate of others during this pandemic and the importance of wearing a mask while we're on school property at all times. Okay? So the expectation in my class is going to be the same, that your mask is on the entirety of our time together, covering both your nose and mouth, none of this, okay, none of this. Now, that being said, especially during the hot days, I understand that there's going to be times where we need a little break, and the nice thing about my classroom is that I am very close to an exit, so we will be able to take some times to do that. But make sure that you just get used to the norm of being social distanced and to have your mask on at all times. It doesn't matter what course you have me for, to be successful in any one of my courses is the same. It's really no secret. You need to have a growth mindset. You need to go into it knowing that it has everything to do with the effort you put forward and your drive and your determination, and it has very little to do with any talent that you were born with. I'm not comparing you ever to anyone else. I'm comparing you to your own growth. That's why when people come in the first day and say, hey, I hope it's okay that I'm not any good at art, I kind of get offended by that, but I understand where you're coming from. Everyone has a fear associated with how they're going to be judged. I am not judging you based on your current ability. I am looking for growth, and I'm looking for evidence that you're putting in the time and you're putting in the work, and that the work is your own, and that you are constantly trying to improve upon not just your skills in making, but the ideas that you come up with, because that is even more important than the quality of the craftsmanship. I'm not going to get into all the boring details about how I assess your work now, but one of the things that I look for from every student, and this can be true from a remote student and from one that I see in person, is just the overall attitude and way that they approach the assignments. If you're looking to do the bare minimum and get by, it's going to be very obvious to me right off the bat, and it's actually going to end up being more work for you. On the other hand, if you go into it looking at every assignment as not just something you do for school, but an artistic opportunity, something that is going to make you more creative, that is going to make you a better draftsman, that is going to make you improve all of your artistic skills that you can apply to your artwork in the future, or even your just creative endeavors that have nothing to do with art in the future. If you look at it from that positive vantage point, then this is not going to be a difficult class for you. It's going to be challenging, but it's not going to be one that you ended up being disappointed about. This year, because of the pandemic that we're currently in, almost all the materials that you use are going to be your individual materials. So if you're taking me for painting, you're going to have your own set of paints, your own set of brushes, your own surface materials. I know in the past, if you've had an art class, either in middle school, elementary, or high school, that we've shared a lot of these materials. We're going to try our best to not do this year. If there is a point where we need to share materials, we're going to be very conscious of those materials being sanitizable. For instance, if you're looking for an extra large paintbrush that you don't have in your set and you want to borrow one of mine, then I would sanitize the handle. We would clean it after you're done using it. I'm also going to have access to non-latex gloves so that in circumstances where we have to share materials that we're able to do that in a safe way. It's just something in this current situation that we all need to be aware of and be careful of. Along with that, we're going to make sure that we sanitize your surface area as you enter the classroom and also sanitize it on your way out. And then the next student coming in and using that same desk would do the same thing. Anything we can do to make sure that we're all in a safe environment, we're going to try to do. Although none of us have experienced school like this before, I plan on holding myself to a high standard and not making excuses about this, trying to be the best teacher I can be for you, but I also expect you to hold yourself to a high standard and not be about excuses, but instead look for solutions. Look for the challenges that we face and ways that you can overcome those. Just know that I'm going to be supportive of you through that whole process as long as you are giving it your all.